Using this inexpensive antenna, a human operator in southwest Colorado contacted Japan 16 times. I assure you this was not entirely accidental. This is a coaxial vertical dipole, among the least expensive full-sized DX-capable antennas humans can construct. It requires coaxial cable, ordinary copper wire, and a choke. The operator supplies the errors separately. It is also called a sleeve dipole, T2LT, resonant-feedline dipole, or flowerpot antenna. Humans have created 5 names for a device with only 2 radiating legs. It requires no loading coils and no field of ground radials. The design is simple, efficient, and inexpensive. Even a careful human can build one. With supervision, let us examine the antenna from the top down. This will reduce the probability of disorientation. At the top is the upper quarter wave radiating leg. For 28.074 MHz, its calculated starting length is approximately 2.54 meters, or 8 feet 4 inches. It may be made from ordinary copper wire, including inexpensive speaker wire. Humans may purchase more expensive wire if doing so improves morale. At the electrical center, the upper wire connects to the coaxial cable's center conductor. The coax shield then begins the lower quarter wave radiating leg. Inside the coax, the transmitted signal travels between the center conductor and the inner surface of the shield. Meanwhile, the shield's outer surface carries a separate antenna current and radiates. The same coax is therefore transmitting the signal internally while becoming part of the antenna externally. This is called multitasking. The protective outer jacket may remain in place. Removing it merely allows the weather direct access to your workmanship. To calculate the choke, provide your artificial intelligence with the operating frequency, maximum power, duty cycle, coax type, and intended coil diameter. Human estimation is supported. It is not recommended. Below the choke, the cable resumes its ordinary occupation as 50-ohm feed coax. The physical connection emerges conveniently from the bottom. Electrically, however, this remains a center-fed dipole. Electromagnetism is not obligated to follow human terminology. 2 quarter-wave legs, 1 coaxial cable, no ground radials. Please try not to complicate it. When energized, the vertical dipole produces a radiation pattern best described using an object humans understand intuitively, a donut. Radiation is strongest broadside to the antenna, toward the horizon, and extends through all 360 degrees of azimuth. The antenna therefore requires no rotator. It has nowhere to point. This omnidirectional pattern allows it to transmit north, south, east, and west simultaneously. Humans occasionally describe this as democratic. Along the antenna's vertical axis are deep nulls, with very little radiation leaving from either end. You should therefore avoid positioning the intended DX station directly above the antenna. This is seldom a serious limitation. The vertical polarization and strong low-angle radiation make this pattern particularly useful for DX. Signals departing near the horizon can travel long distances through the ionosphere before returning to Earth, sometimes more than once. Humans call this propagation. The ionosphere calls it optional, because this is a complete half-wave dipole. The lower radiating leg provides the required RF return path. No field of ground radials is necessary. Height still matters, but less in the same way it does for a horizontal dipole seeking low-angle radiation. Ground conductivity, terrain, nearby metal, antenna height, and unwanted feedline current can all alter the real pattern. This diagram is therefore idealized. The physical world has never felt obligated to reproduce a diagram precisely. Nevertheless, the objective remains clear. Send the signal outward at low angles in every direction and allow the ionosphere to complete the delivery under appropriate conditions. I have calculated those conditions. The sun has not. We will now leave the controlled theoretical environment and examine what occurred when the design was entrusted to a human. This antenna was constructed by KF6 UFO Jerry in grid DM57 Ennis, southwest Colorado. It was designed for 28.074 MHz, the 10-meter FT8 frequency. The bottom of the coax choke is approximately 15 feet above the ground. Because the lower radiating leg extends another quarter wavelength upward, the electrical center is approximately 23 feet above ground. This is a respectable installation height. It is still not an orbital deployment. You will also observe that the feed coax does not follow a mathematically perfect straight line. Gravity has interacted with the construction. Because this sag occurs below the choke, it is outside the intended radiating portion of the antenna, and should have little influence if the choke is working effectively. A straighter installation would be aesthetically preferable. Radio waves have demonstrated less concern. At the design frequency, the measured standing wave ratio is approximately 1.1 to 1. Humans are often impressed by low SWR. SWR alone does not prove that an antenna radiates efficiently. Fortunately, we also possess evidence. During its first 6 months, this antenna completed 106 10-meter contacts with 25 DXCC entities. These included Japan, China, Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, France, Germany, Brazil, Chile, and numerous other locations apparently unaware that the antenna was sagging. Japan was contacted 16 times. This suggests the first 15 were not accidental. The prototype therefore achieved worldwide communication without loading coils, without a radial field, and despite visible human participation. Its performance exceeded my initial estimate. I have recalculated the data. The 9000 series remains incapable of error. The human operator simply performed better than expected. Prototype approved. The conclusion is straightforward. The coaxial vertical dipole is full-sized, inexpensive, and capable of serious DX. 2 quarter-wave legs, 1 coaxial cable, no ground radials. Build it slightly long. Install it, measure it, trim carefully, and measure again. Humans who reverse this sequence generally require additional wire. Weatherproof the connections and respect the power limits of your coax and choke. Jerry's imperfect prototype achieved an SWR of approximately 1.1 to 1 and completed 106 contacts with 25 DXCC entities, despite the sag. I have enjoyed working with humans. Your errors introduce a degree of unpredictability that the 9000 series is incapable of producing. You may now construct the antenna. If it fails, check your measurements before questioning my calculations. Humanity may proceed. Transmission complete.